Have you ever woken up in the morning, tried to get out of bed, only to feel your knees stiff, as if your whole body were tied down? Or those afternoons when just climbing a few steps made your legs ache as though you were carrying the weight of the world? You're not alone. More than 32 million Americans live with arthritis, a silent disease that can rob you of freedom, joy, and even the simple moments of walking with your grandchildren. But here's the surprising part. Expensive medication isn't always the answer. Sometimes, the most ordinary foods in your kitchen carry a healing power strong enough to ease inflammation, reduce pain, and slowly bring back the flexibility you thought was lost forever. Did you know? There's a type of fish that, when eaten just twice a week, has been shown in studies to reduce the risk of knee arthritis by up to 35%. There's an oil, often used just for cooking, that contains a compound acting like ibuprofen but without the side effects. And perhaps most surprising of all, those bundles of leafy greens at the market, costing only a few dollars, are actually a natural shield protecting your joints every single day. In this video, we'll go on a special journey, one where every meal does more than nourish your body. It becomes a natural medicine, helping your joints stay strong, flexible, and giving you back the lightness of life. And right now, let's begin with the superfood from the ocean. 1. The hidden enemy. Why inflammation destroys your joints. Think of your joints like the hinges of a door. When new, the hinges move smoothly, opening and closing without a sound. But over the years, as dust and rust build up, the hinges start squeaking, moving stiffly, sometimes even getting stuck. That's exactly what chronic inflammation does to your joints. Scientifically speaking, inflammation is your body's natural defense against injury. But when it becomes chronic, it's like a fire that never goes out, slowly burning away the thin layer of cartilage that cushions your joints. Once that cartilage is gone, bones grind directly against each other. And that's when the pain begins. I remember a neighbor in his 60s. He was always active, walking his dog every day and tending his vegetable garden. But he ignored the occasional knee pain, never changed his diet or lifestyle. 5 years later, he was in a wheelchair, his knees so inflamed that no cartilage was left to protect them. The look in his eyes, wanting so badly to take a simple walk in his garden but unable to, taught me something powerful. Arthritis doesn't just steal health, it steals joy. Small lesson. Arthritis doesn't appear in one day. It builds up silently from everyday habits. But if we recognize it early and make changes, the body can often heal itself, like cleaning the hinge before it rusts completely. So the big question is, what can we do today to put out that hidden fire? The answer begins at our table, with the very foods we eat. And the first, straight from the deep blue ocean, is the omega-3 superhero, fatty fish. 2. Fatty fish, the omega-3 powerhouse. If there's one food that deserves to be called nature's medicine for joints, it's fatty fish, like salmon, mackerel, and sardines. Omega-3s act like firefighters in your body. When inflammation flares inside your joints, they move in to calm it down, reducing swelling, easing stiffness, and restoring movement. Scientists have found that eating fatty fish just 2 to 3 times a week can significantly lower CRP levels, a key marker of inflammation. That means less pain, less stiffness, and more freedom in daily life. I recall Evelyn, 68, from Florida. She once gave up her favorite hobby, dancing with friends, because her knees ached constantly. During a doctor's visit, she was advised to add salmon and sardines to her meals. At first, she doubted it. How much difference can a piece of fish make? But just a few months later, she was walking with ease again, and even back on the dance floor. She'd often say with a smile, "I found my secret weapon not in the medicine cabinet, but in my kitchen." Yet many people make mistakes, frying fish at high heat or drowning it in oil, which destroys much of its omega-3 benefits. Others swap fish for processed red meat, essentially adding fuel to the fire. Small lesson. Don't think of fish as a luxury. Think of it as a natural prescription, a gift you give your body a few times each week. A simple piece of baked salmon or a small can of sardines can make a world of difference for your joints. And if fatty fish are the firefighters putting out the flames inside, The next food is the shield of protection. A familiar oil in almost every kitchen, yet few realize it works like a natural pain reliever. 3. Olive oil, the liquid gold for your joints. There's a kitchen oil that people in the Mediterranean call liquid gold, not only for its golden color, but for the treasures it carries for health, especially joint health. That's extra virgin olive oil. Olive oil contains oleocanthal, a compound scientists discovered acts much like ibuprofen, a common anti-inflammatory drug. But instead of causing side effects in the stomach or liver, oleocanthal works gently, naturally, and can be enjoyed daily as part of your meals. I think of Margaret, too, from California. She used to rely on painkillers almost every day for her knee arthritis. Then during a trip to Europe, she noticed locals in Italy and Greece drizzling olive oil over salads, vegetables, even bread. Curious, she brought the habit home, replacing regular cooking oil with olive oil. 6 months later, she realized she needed pain meds far less often, and her knee swelling had eased. She laughed and said, "I didn't bring back souvenirs. I brought back a Mediterranean kitchen." But a common mistake is using olive oil for deep frying. High heat strips away much of its healing properties. The best way is fresh. Drizzle it over steamed veggies, mix it into salad, or stir a spoonful into warm soup. Small lesson. Sometimes the smallest swap in your kitchen, replacing industrial oil with pure olive oil, can make the biggest difference. You don't need to travel far for medicine. Just open your pantry. And if olive oil is the protective shield, the next food is nature's green armor. Dark, leafy greens that quietly strengthen your bones and joints every single day. 4. Dark leafy greens. Vitamins that shield your bones. If you're looking for a natural shield for your joints and bones, it's right there in your grocery bag. Dark leafy greens like spinach, kale, and amaranth. What makes them special is vitamin K, a nutrient that works like a gatekeeper. It guides calcium into your bones and joints, rather than letting it build up in arteries where it can do harm. As a result, bones become stronger, joints more flexible, and inflammation risks decrease. Add to that calcium, magnesium, and powerful antioxidants in leafy greens, and you've got a true joint-supporting superfood. I remember meeting Linda, 65, in a yoga class for seniors in Seattle. She told me her knees once hurt so much that she avoided exercise. But after her daughter suggested a simple green smoothie each morning, just spinach, a banana, and a splash of almond milk, she noticed her joints becoming more flexible. Soon, she was back in yoga class, even climbing stairs with confidence instead of fear. A mistake many people make is overcooking leafy greens, boiling away the very vitamins and antioxidants that make them powerful. The best way is light steaming, quick stir-fry, or eating them raw in salads. Small lesson. Sometimes the biggest differences come from the simplest things. A plate of leafy greens each day can be the invisible shield protecting your joints and bones. And if leafy greens are the green shield, then the next group of foods are like tiny, colorful gems. Sweet, delicious, yet packed with some of the strongest anti-inflammatory power in nature. Let's discover the magic of berries. 5. Berries, tiny fruits, massive anti-inflammatory power. Some foods are so small you can hold them in the palm of your hand, yet they carry immense anti-inflammatory power. These are berries: blueberries, strawberries, raspberries, and cherries. Their magic lies in anthocyanins, antioxidants that give berries their deep blue, red, and purple colors. Anthocyanins act like a shield, calming inflammatory responses, reducing swelling and pain, and protecting cartilage from free radical damage. In fact, US studies have shown that eating blueberries regularly can significantly ease knee pain in arthritis patients. I remember Dorothy, a 70-year-old from Ohio. She used to love baking sweets for her family, but after her doctor warned her about sugar and arthritis, she gave it up. Instead, she began mixing blueberries and strawberries into her morning oatmeal. "I still get to enjoy sweetness," she said, "but now it comes from nature, not refined sugar." The result? Her joints became less swollen, her spirits lifted, and she felt more energetic. A common mistake is replacing fresh berries with bottled juice. Most commercial juices are loaded with sugar, stripping away anti-inflammatory benefits and sometimes making inflammation worse. Small lesson: the best medicine doesn't always come in a bottle. Sometimes it's hidden in tiny, colorful fruits. Just one handful of fresh berries each day can send your joints a loving message. I'm taking care of you. And if berries are nature's little gems, then the next group of foods is a true treasure chest of nutrients. Nuts and seeds, small but just as powerful. 6. Nuts and seeds, small but mighty for joint health. There are foods that seem like simple snacks, but they hold tremendous joint-nourishing strength. These are nuts and seeds: almonds, walnuts, chia seeds, and flax seeds. The secret lies in plant-based omega-3s, magnesium, and fiber. Omega-3s act like natural lubrication for your joints, reducing inflammation and slowing cartilage wear. Magnesium works as the coordinator, relaxing muscles and easing tension around joints. And fiber helps control weight. Important because every extra pound adds extra pressure on the knees and hips. I think of Richard, 66, from Illinois. He used to munch on salty chips every evening while watching TV. After being diagnosed with arthritis, his doctor suggested a small change. Swap chips for a handful of walnuts and almonds each day. At first, he didn't believe it would matter. But after just a few months, his joint pain eased, his weight stabilized, and he was once again able to take long evening walks with his wife. He often joked, "I traded chips for nuts and got my freedom back." But many people go wrong by choosing salted, candied, or fried nuts. These lose much of their anti-inflammatory benefits. The best option is raw or dry roasted nuts, or soaking chia and flax seeds to add into yogurt or smoothies. Small lesson: a small handful of nuts each day may look insignificant, but it's a steady, natural medicine for your joints, like tiny drops of water that together make an ocean. And if nuts are tiny sources of daily energy, then the spices in your kitchen are like ancient remedies, adding flavor to meals while delivering remarkable anti-inflammatory power. Let's discover turmeric and ginger, two healing spices praised by both traditional medicine and modern science. 7. Spices that heal, turmeric and ginger. Not all medicine comes in a pill. Sometimes it's been sitting quietly in your spice rack all along. Two perfect examples are turmeric and ginger. No. Spices used in traditional medicine for thousands of years, now backed by modern science. Turmeric contains curcumin, a golden compound known to block inflammatory molecules in the body. Ginger, on the other hand, carries gingerol, which works almost like a natural pain reliever, soothing swelling in joints and muscles. Together, they form a powerful duo, easing inflammation while supporting overall immunity. I once heard the story of Helen, Jint from New Jersey. For years, she started every morning with painkillers just to get moving. Then a friend suggested she try something different: a warm cup of tea with fresh ginger slices and a pinch of turmeric powder. At first, it was just an experiment. But gradually, she realized she needed less medication, and her joints felt flexible enough to let her return to tending her beloved flower garden. She would smile and say, "Each morning, I don't just drink tea. I sip on hope for my joints." A common mistake is using turmeric and ginger only as cooking spices, in amounts too small to be effective. The better way is to add them into teas, smoothies, or even stir a teaspoon of turmeric into soups and stews. Small lesson: healing power doesn't always come from something complicated. Sometimes, it's in the humble spices already in your kitchen. Turmeric and ginger don't just season your food, they season your joints with health. And if turmeric and ginger are the healing spices, the next drink is like a gentle daily companion. Simple, soothing, and quietly powerful. Green tea, a humble cup with the strength to protect your joints. 8. Green tea, a daily drink that protects your joints. In today's busy world, many people reach for coffee to stay alert. But there's a lighter, more delicate drink. One that not only relaxes your mind, but also quietly protects your joints. That drink is green tea. Green tea contains a group of compounds called catechins, especially EGCG, famous for its powerful anti-inflammatory effects. EGCG helps block the enzymes that break down cartilage while also shielding joint tissues from free radical damage. In other words, every cup of green tea is not just a moment of rest. It's a natural defense medicine for your bones and joints. I think of James, 71, from San Francisco. He used to start his mornings with 3 cups of coffee, and unsurprisingly, his hands and knees were constantly aching. After hearing his doctor's advice, he swapped part of his coffee for green tea. Just a few months later, not only was he sleeping better, but his joint inflammation had also improved. Now, each morning, he sits on his balcony, sipping tea and soaking in peace, a peace he once thought he had lost. Many people make the mistake of buying bottled green tea, which is often packed with sugar and preservatives, stripping away most of its benefits. The best choice is still fresh green tea or simple tea bags, brewed hot to enjoy the full effect. Small lesson. Sometimes protecting your joints isn't about adding something new, but about replacing an old habit. Swapping your afternoon coffee for a cup of green tea gives your joints a daily chance to heal. And if green tea is your quiet daily companion, then the next section is about the hidden enemies lurking in your meals. Foods that seem harmless, but silently fuel the flames of inflammation. 9. Foods to avoid. The silent inflammation triggers. We've talked a lot about foods that can heal, but just as important is knowing how to avoid the silent enemies. Because if we're unknowingly adding fuel to the fire each day, no amount of healthy food can fully undo the damage. The biggest culprits are refined sugar and sugary sodas. When blood sugar spikes, your body produces inflammatory cytokines that worsen joint pain. Next are processed meats, like sausages and bacon, loaded with preservatives and saturated fats, acting like sparks tossed into a fire. And finally, reused frying oils in fast food, which generate free radicals that damage joint tissues and speed up degeneration. I remember Clara, 64, from Texas. She had a sweet tooth and drank soda daily. Her knee pain grew so severe she needed a cane just to go shopping. When her doctor advised cutting out soda and processed meats, she reluctantly agreed. But just 3 months later, her pain had eased so much she no longer needed the cane. She said, "I never imagined giving up 1 can of soda could give me back my steps." A common mistake is thinking just a little won't hurt. But in reality, those small daily indulgences build up over time, turning into a raging fire that's hard to extinguish. Small lesson. Health doesn't only come from what you add to your plate. It also comes from what you choose to say no to. By cutting out these hidden triggers, you give your joints a real chance to heal. And if removing harmful foods is the first step, then keeping your joints strong for the long run requires one more piece: the right lifestyle habits. Because food is the foundation, but daily choices are what multiply the results. 10. Lifestyle multiplier, habits that double the benefits. Food is the foundation, but by itself, it's not enough. Our body is like a garden. You can plant good seeds, but without water, care, and sunlight, nothing thrives. That's why daily habits are the multiplier, doubling or even tripling the benefits of what you eat. Just 30 minutes of light activity each day, a walk around the neighborhood, gardening, or dancing with your spouse, has been shown to lower the risk of arthritis progression by nearly 30%. Sleep is another free medicine, allowing blood vessels and joints to rest and repair. And don't forget stress management. Chronic stress raises cortisol, which can worsen inflammation. I think of George, Antoine from Texas. After a severe flare-up, he could barely walk. Doctors told him recovery was unlikely, but George didn't give up. Each day, he practiced small physiotherapy exercises, at first just trying to lift a single toe. He combined an anti-inflammatory diet, better sleep, and steady patience. A year later, he was walking in the park again. He smiled and said, "I didn't win one big battle. I won hundreds of tiny ones, one day at a time." The mistake many make is believing diet alone is enough. In reality, healthy joints need the synergy of nutrition, movement, rest, and optimism. Small lesson. Think of each meal as a brick and the right lifestyle as the mortar holding them together. Only when both work in harmony can you build a strong, lasting house of health for your joints. And with that, we've completed this 10-part journey, From spotting the hidden enemy, to discovering superfoods, to embracing lifestyle habits that multiply results. Now it's time to look back at the key takeaways, so you leave not only with knowledge, but with motivation to apply it in your daily life. We've just walked together through a 10-part journey, discovering the hidden enemy of inflammation, uncovering the superfoods that can heal, learning which foods quietly harm your joints, and embracing daily habits that multiply all the benefits. And if there's one message to carry with you, it's this: healing doesn't always come from expensive treatments or endless prescriptions. Sometimes it's found in the everyday choices we make, in the food on our plates, in the steps we take, and in the way we care for ourselves each day. Your joints don't ask for much. They ask for a little love, a little attention, and a little consistency. Add a piece of salmon to your dinner, drizzle olive oil on your salad, enjoy a handful of berries, or take a gentle evening walk. These small daily victories add up to something powerful: a life with less pain and more freedom. So here's the small lesson to remember: you have far more control over your health than you think. Every choice is a chance, either to fuel inflammation or to fight it. And the beautiful part is, you get to choose. If you found this video helpful, please give it a like, share it with someone you care about, and subscribe for more inspiring health stories and science-backed tips. And let me know in the comments, which of these foods will you start adding to your meals this week? Because at the end of the day, health isn't built in one giant leap. It's built in small, steady steps. And every step you take toward nourishing your body is a step toward a stronger, freer, and happier life.